Okay, last time, last time we have what? We have discussed your gastrointestinal tract. So basically what? We divided your stomach into, salamat po. We divided your stomach into the upper half or the proximal half and the lower half or the distal half. I told you last time that the upper half would be for storage, okay, while the distal half will be the one that would usually be responsible for most of the motor activities of your gastrointestinal tract, okay? The upper half, sabi natin last time, if food is coming from the esophagus, okay, it will what? It will follow the principle of myenteric reflex, and that is what we call as the receptive relaxation of the stomach. Diba? And it is also known as the plasticity of the stomach. So kung mas marami kang kinakain araw-araw, the distension of the upper half of the stomach will be larger, larger, and larger. And for you to entrain your stomach, it would only take around 2 weeks. So 2 linggo para ma-entrain mo ang iyong stomach. Okay? So ibig sabihin, ano yon? Kung gusto nyo naman ulit na mag-diet para siya lumiit, 2 linggo ulit na konti lang ang kakainin ninyo. Make sure, however, na kaya nyong tiisin yung gutom. Why? Dahil dati-dati malaki siya bago mo mararamdaman na busog ka. If it doesn't distend anymore, like what it's used to distend, okay, during the pandemic era, kasi gusto mo nang mag-diet, hindi na siya distended, hindi na may stimulate yung iyong satiety center. Ang lagi nang i-stimulate ay hunger center. Kaya ang tendency, gutom ka ng gutom. So ano ang gagawin mo para ma-distend yan? Uminom ka ng maraming tubig para distended yan. Kahit papano, pag naabot niya na yung distension, it will now send impulses to your satiety and hunger center. It will send excitatory impulses to your satiety center and inhibitory impulses to your satiety center. Now, the lower half of the stomach, on the other hand, will be the one responsible for mixing process, propulsion, retropulsion. Propulsion is bringing the food towards the antrum, towards the end of the antrum, which is your pylorus, and bringing it back towards the body. That is retropulsion. That is how the lower stomach will mix gastric contents. Okay. And then what? You also have the regulation of your gastric emptying. Diba sabi natin, the upper stomach will be for storage. The lower stomach has ilang motor activity nga. Yung sabi natin nung nakaraan, it's 3 per minute. 3 kada 1 minuto. Okay? Now, with regards to your gastric emptying, meaning the emptying of the lower stomach, you have your gastric factors, and you have your duodenal factors. Okay? So you have duodenal and gastric factors. Ano yung ating mga gastric factors? 2 lang naman yon. Okay? Gastrin and your distension of the stomach. Okay? Your distension of the stomach. But of course, yung mga hormones na binanggit natin bago tayo nagsimula ng mastication, katulad ng motilin, cholecystokinin, serotonin, okay? They will also have an effect on your gastric emptying. Di ba diniscuss na natin yun last time. What about duodenal factors? Ano-ano yung mga pwedeng duodenal factors? Of course, the volume of food in the duodenum. Because the volume of food in the duodenum will determine your, will determine your distension of the duodenum. So pag distended pa yung duodenum, remember, pag proximo-distal reflex, it is excitatory to the distal part. If it is distal proximal reflex, it is inhibitory to the proximal part. Kaya nga hindi ba, pag sinabi nating gastrocolic reflex, Okay? You place food in the stomach, it will stimulate the colon. Okay? Pag sinabi naman nating distal proximal, cologastric, balik na rin natin. O, cologastric. So what is that? So, pag cologastric, okay, distension of the colon will inhibit the stomach. And so does pagduodenal factors. Generally, pagduodenal factors. Generally ito although may mga exceptions. Duodenal factors, duodenum, generally will inhibit gastric emptying. But ano yung mga factors na yon? One, volume. So syempre, pag distended pa ang duodenum, inhibit niya ang gastric emptying. What else? Acid. Okay? An acidic pH, you know that partial digested food in the stomach is known as the chyme. It is called chyme. Okay, now acid, the chyme is very acidic. So if you have plenty of chyme in your duodenum, which is acidic, of course, what will it do? It will inhibit the stomach from emptying chyme. Bakit? Ayaw natin na dumagdag further ang acid into your duodenum because it will erode the mucosa of your duodenum. Ganun yung gagawin niya. What else aside from acid? Okay, you have your form of the food. Okay, the form of the food, what is that? If it is solid, semi-solid, or liquid. Commonly, bihira naman ang solid na makakarating sa duodenum unless lumunok ka ng buto ng santol. Nung panahon namin, hindi kompleto ang pagkain namin ng santol pag hindi namin nilulunok ang buto. But nowadays, pinagbabawal yon kasi it causes intestinal obstruction. Naiipon siya doon, it causes intestinal obstruction. That is why, nowadays, ang karamihan lang naman na pagkain na makakarating sa duodenum ay semi-solid and liquid. Of course, it is self-explanatory. Pag semi-solid, it will delay gastric emptying. Pag liquid, it will facilitate gastric emptying. Next, tonicity of the food. Okay. So anong tonicity yun? So it's 280 to 300 milliosmoles. Milliosmoles. So, if it is hypo or hypertonic food, then it will delay gastric emptying. Mapa-hypotonic, mapa-hypertonic, it will delay gastric emptying. Which one will delay more? Hypertonic food. Alin ang mas nagde-delay ng gastric emptying? Hypertonic. And then you will have your type of the food. Ano yung type of the food? If the food is fat, or that will be lipid, protein, or carbohydrate. That is based on that's descending order of inhibitory to less from most inhibitory to least inhibitory. Ano yun? Pag marami kang kinakain na fatty food, it will delay gastric emptying. And so that's protein. Dinedelay niya ang gastric emptying. Paano naman pag carbohydrate diet? Fina-facilitate niya ang gastric emptying. Okay? And then lastly, according to Guyton, temperature of the food. Duodenum. Pag-iisipin ninyo, duodenum, temperature of the food. So anong ibig sabihin nun? Yung pagkain ba, pagdating sa duodenum, ramdam nyo pa ba na mainit pa yung pagkain na pupunta ng duodenum ninyo? Ramdam nyo pa ba na malamig ang pumupunta sa duodenum ninyo? Of course, that is already impossible. Why? Mararamdaman nyo lang pag inom nyo ng mainit na kape, yung kape papasok sa stomach ninyo, mararamdaman ninyo mainit yung pumasok na kape sa stomach ninyo. Pero pag pumasok yan sa duodenum, mainit pa ba yan? Of course, as it descends or as it goes into your stomach, ano ang mangyayari? Merong tinatawag na acclimatization. So there will be dissipation of heat from the coffee towards the body. So magiging body temperature na yung kape. And so thus, pag kumain kayo ng ice cream, malamig. Pag lunok ninyo, malamig. Pagdating sa stomach, malamig. Pero ano ang gagawin ng katawan? The heat from the body will transfer to the ice cream. Ang tendency, the ice cream temperature will now be body temperature. Diba? Kaya hindi mo mararamdaman, ano yun? Kumain ka, uy, mainit yung kape. Ayun, mainit na pumunta sa duodenum mo. Naramdaman mo pa ba yun? Hindi na, di ba? Kaya nga, question mark ko yung temperature kay Gayton. Okay? But itong 5, definitely itong 5, that is true. Very, very true. Okay? So, you will see here, ayaw mag-move. Okay? Again, you'll have there your sphincters. Okay. You have your, what do you call that? Your gastroesophageal or your lower esophageal sphincter. You know, that's also called lower esophageal sphincter. And this one would be your pyloric sphincter. All of the sphincters in the gastrointestinal tract are hypertrophied inner circular muscles, and they are functional sphincters. They open, they close based on pressure gradients. So pwede ding bumukas, bumalik yung pagkain. The sphincters in the gastrointestinal tract will not assure one-way movement of food. Hindi niya i-assure ang one-way movement ng pagkain because the sphincters can open, okay, depending on pressure gradients. Okay? Yan lang ulit yun. So again, yun yung sinabi natin, receptive relaxation or the law of plasticity of the stomach. This figure is coming from Byrne and Levy. Yan yung motor functions ng cardia, the fundus and the body, and the antrum and the pylorus. So sabi natin, karamihan ng motor functions will be found in the lower stomach. Okay? Ito lang ulit yung propulsion, retropulsion activity of the stomach. At ito yung isa sa mga factor, this is coming from Byrne and Levy. Look, percent emptied, okay, number of hours, time. Sa loob ng 2 oras, kumusta? You have almost emptied the carbohydrates in your stomach as compared with your proteins. Meron ang na-empty mo lang around 60%. Around 60%. So anong ibig sabihin? May 40% pa na protein sa stomach mo, pakiramdam mo, busog ka pa. Kaya nga hindi ba, pag nagda-diet ka, hindi dapat high carbohydrate. Dapat high protein diet ka para matagal ka bago kumain. Supposedly, pag pakiramdam mo, busog ka pa, hindi ka kakain. Physiologically speaking. Di ba? Kasi pag pakiramdam mo, mabigat pa yung tiyan mo, kumakain ka ng kumakain, kasi libre yung pagkain, hindi ka physiologic. Okay? So dapat physiologically speaking, pag may laman pa yung tiyan mo, hindi ka kakain. Kumusta naman tayo sa Pilipinas? We are a carbohydrate eating country. Bakit? Hindi ba? Tayo yung pansit, inilalagay natin sa loob ng tinapay. O kumusta yon? Carbs on carbs. Yung spaghetti, sinasabay natin sa tinapay din, sa toasted bread. Ano pa? Pansit canton, inuulam. O saan ka pa? Yung pansit canton, yung mga noodles, inuulam natin sa kanin. Carbs on carbs on carbs. Diba? Kaya kumusta tayo mga Pilipino? Laging gutom. Laging gutom. Kaya kain tayo ng kain. Kumpara mo sa ibang bansa, like for example, the European countries, the US countries. Di ba? Pag doon, pinakain mo sila ng carbohydrates, halos hindi sila kumakain. Ang sources nila ng carbohydrates doon, fibers, corn, ano pa yun? Green peas, di ba? Kumusta naman? Hindi ba pagka kumain ka ng mais, pagtai mo, mais pa rin? Ganun yun. So, you would see there that glucose will facilitate gastric emptying. So you have your feeding center. It is the lateral nucleus of the hypothalamus. Again, it is the lateral nucleus of the hypothalamus. kung hindi ka umattend ng lecture ko at nanood nagbasa ka lang ng PowerPoint ko, hindi mo alam kung ano yung ini-emphasize ko. The feeding center is the lateral nucleus of the hypothalamus. Okay? Huwag mo sa akin sasabihin later on pag tinanong ko yan sa exam ninyo. Tapos, bibigyan mo ako ng correction kasi ang nasa PowerPoint ko, based sa nababasa mo, it only means one thing. Nahuli kita, hindi ka nakinig ng lecture ko. Ibig sabihin, kaya huwag kang ma-offend pag sinabi kong huli kita, hindi ka nakinig ng lecture ko, kasi pag sabi ko hunger center, feeding center, it is the lateral nucleus of the hypothalamus. And these are the excitatory stimuli. Diba? O, makikita ninyo dyan, parietal cell, interdigestive, in between meals. Okay? Sinisikret siya para ikaw ay magutom. Pagka ikaw ay kain ng kain, syempre ganyan, dambuhala tayo lahat during pandemics, karamihan sa atin, hindi naman lahat. So we will have to inhibit your hunger center. And one of them would be leptin. Pag ikaw mayroong leptin, or pag ikaw maraming taba, the leptin is produced by your adipose cells. So, the leptin is supposed to inhibit the lateral nucleus of the hypothalamus. The problem with many obese people is that the leptin hypothalamic pathway is dysfunctional. So, hindi niya ma-inhibit ang lateral nucleus ng hypothalamus. Tendency is kain sila ng kain pa rin. So why do we stop eating? Because we have your satiety center. Okay? At ano yung satiety center natin? It is the ventromedial nucleus of the hypothalamus. And these are the excitatory stimuli. Ito naman yung inhibitory stimuli mo. Oh. So supposedly, pagka ikaw ay medyo may kulay, marami kang melanocyte-stimulating hormone. Supposedly, lagi kang busog. Kasi, ano yun? Supposedly, yung MSH mo is stimulating your ventromedial nucleus of the hypothalamus, telling you that you are full, F-U-L-L. Diba? Oh. So, pag busog ka, hindi ka dapat kakain, supposedly, physiologically speaking. Okay? Oh. Ganun din, no? Pagka masyadong matamis, masyadong maalat or hypertonic yung diet, commonly hindi ka gaganahang kumain. Kaya, pakiramdam mo, busog ka. Okay? Pag mainit, supposedly hindi ka gaganahang kumain. Physiologically speaking. Okay? So, food intake is multifactorial. Okay? Yung pinag-discuss lang natin kanina, mabagal. Nakikita nyo, nasa food intake na tayo, no? Mabagal yung ano? Bakit? Okay. Food intake is multifactorial. Yung diniscuss natin kanina will be central signals. Okay? Oh. Yung diniscuss natin kanina will be neurologic. You'll have other factors. Okay? That will regulate food intake. This is another lecture. Okay? Ay, bakit? Nawala yung kabila ko. Okay? So basically, nawala yung kabila. Sorry. So basically, okay, again, you'll have other factors, external factors that will affect food intake. Emotions. So pag excited ka, hindi ka dapat, wala kang dapat ganang kumain. Characteristic, pagka ikaw naman depressed, kain ka ng kain. Kaya yung mga taong kain ng kain, karaniwan depressed sila. Food characteristic, syempre pagka medyo dry, ayaw nating kumain. Diba? Lifestyle. May mga iba sa inyo, anak ng politiko, di ba? Or mga rich kid, kumusta naman ang inyong mga kinakain? Kumusta naman ang inyong Kumusta naman ang inyong frequency ng pagkain? And then environmental cues. Pag tumilaok ang manok, alam ninyo na umaga na, and you need to take your breakfast. Diba? Yan yung mga other factors. Again, this is just the lower stomach. Sinabi na natin yan. Okay. And the transit time of food in the stomach is 4 to 6 hours. Okay. Kaya kung kumain ka ng alas 8, okay, if you ate 8 o'clock, for example, the next meal would be around 12 or around 2 p.m. So again, it doesn't dictate yung frequency mo ng pagkain. I mean, it doesn't dictate na kailangan mong kumain ng alas 6 ng umaga, alas 12 ng tanghali, at alas 6 ng gabi. It doesn't necessarily mean it's like that. So, yung sinasabi ng mga pasyente, hindi po kasi yan kumakain sa oras. Will depend on your circadian, or will depend on your biologic rhythm. Katulad ko, hindi ako nag-aalmusal. O ba't hindi ako nagkakaroon ng ulcer? Diba? So it would depend on your own, sabi nga kanina, lifestyle. Okay? O ito nga ulit, yung factors, they're found in your Guyton. Okay? What about the small intestines? What are motor activities of the small intestines? So mostly segmentation and tonic contractions. You seldom see peristalsis in the small intestines. Bakit? Di ba? We need to absorb. We need to mix the food with the chemical enzymes. We need to mechanically digest the food. So basically, we don't need them to move towards the anus because we need to absorb most of the substances that was chemically digested. Normally, if we have increased activity of the small intestine, we use the term peristaltic rash. This means that the diarrhea is, what do you call that? Mataas ang cause ng diarrhea mo. Kasi pag nagda-diarrhea tayo, commonly it is hyperactivity of your, or more hyperactive motor activity of your colon, not the small intestines. Okay? Oh. So basically, pagka ang dahilan ay small intestine, ang tawag natin peristaltic rash, at yan ay high cause, meaning that's what do you call that? It's called, considered as high cause, not the low cause. It's a high gastrointestinal cause of your diarrhea. Okay? So ito, coming from Guyton, okay? Again, like your gastric emptying, the boundary between your small and your large intestine is your ileocecal valve, okay? It's also what? Proximodistal and distal proximal. You irritate the distal, it inhibits the proximal. You irritate the proximal, it will stimulate the distal end of your gastrointestinal tract. Ganun lang ulit yan. Sa mga pinapakita na principle ng mga factors that will either inhibit or delay intestinal emptying. And then you'll have your large intestines. Okay. In the large intestines, you still have tonic contractions. Segmentation contraction is no longer called segmentation contractions. Instead, you call them hostrations. Peristalsis is no longer called peristalsis. Instead, you call them mass movement. Bakit mass movement? It's because they have been dehydrated already. The colic and the duodenocolic reflexes will distend your rectum. And once the rectum is distended, you will initiate defecation reflex. You initiate the defecation reflex. Ito yung inyong internal anal sphincter, ito yung external anal sphincters. You know that the external anal sphincters are skeletal and they are under voluntary control. Your defecation reflex is also an intrinsic, defecation reflex is an intrinsic myenteric reflex. The defecation reflex is facilitated by parasympathetics. So meron kayong parasympathetic defecation at meron kayong intrinsic myenteric reflex ng defecation. So dalawang process yon. Once you have the proximodistal reflex, anong ginagawa niya? It will fill the rectum with undigested food, it will distend your rectum. Distension of the rectum will stimulate the myenteric plexus in that, portion. Again, like the myenteric reflex, it will send inhibitory signals to both internal and external anal sphincters. If the place is proper, you just let your myenteric plexus on the distal end to be inhibited. But if the place is not proper, anong ginagawa ninyo? You contract your external anal sphincter. Okay, if the place is not proper. For infants, for babies, karaniwan, pag hindi sila pa toilet train, hahayaan lang nila yan. So magde-defecate. However, this intrinsic myenteric defecation reflex is weak. It is facilitated, it is enforced by your parasympathetic nervous system through your, again, S2 and S4. Remember, it's craniosacral. Pag nasa level na ito, sacral nerves na yan. Okay? So you will see here that what? Yan yung defecation reflex ninyo. Pag na-stretch, it will send impulses to your spinal cord. Pag reflex lang siya, diretso na kaagad yung inhibition, stimulation of the proximal end, inhibition of the distal end. Other impulses will reach the cerebrum so that it will come into your consciousness. Then it sends impulses through your somatic spinal nerves. The somatic spinal nerves through your pudendal nerve will now stimulate the external anal sphincter so that it will be able to inhibit your defecation. If the place is proper, you don't need this. You don't need this. You just inhibit them. Inhibiting them will terminate your defecation reflex. Take note, pag ginamit natin yung word na terminate defecation reflex, it means that the defecation will be successful. Okay? Now, so yan yung stretch receptors nyo nga na sinabi natin. Okay? The urge to defecate if the pressure in the rectum is 18 millimeters mercury. Sabi ko sa inyo, the external anal sphincters would be under voluntary control, but it has a limitation. Okay? Ano ang ibig kong sabihin? It has a limitation. You cannot voluntarily regulate the contraction of your external anal sphincters, if the pressure in the rectum is 55 and above. Pag ang pressure dito, 55 and above, hindi mo magagawang voluntarily i-control ang external anal sphincter. Lalabas at lalabas yan. Okay? So again, these are pathologic causes of obstruction. Nandoon kay Guyton nyo yan. Diba? Yung mga high obstruction causes, okay, yung mga obstruction sa pylorus, okay, they are what? They are causes. They are general causes. And lastly, you'll have your transit time in the small intestine and the colon. The first meal that you have eaten for the day will reach the cecum in 4 hours. And then it will what? It will, all the undigested food bolus will reach your colon. Most of it have reached your colon within 8 to 9 hours. Normally, when you defecate, you leave 25% in your rectum. Pag tumatae tayo, may naiiwan na 25% sa rectum natin. This 25%, however, madadagdagan yan, kaya mapupushilap downwards. So basically, within 3 days, matatanggal mo rin naman sila. And that ends your motor activities of the gastrointestinal tract. Again, sorry na late ako. May ginawa lang, mainattendan lang ako na kailangang i-fix na exam. Yung secretary namin sa kabila kasi medyo hindi ganun ka-techy kaya in-arrange ko pa. Thank you. Lipat kayo kay Dr. Barbon sa lecture niya